Alright guys, we're back for another Dokkan battle video. Today we're going to take a look at this guy. This, of course, is Hyper Metal RILLDO. Now this unit is kind of interesting. I think for a free-to-play character, I feel like this is probably like a better way for them to go about it, right? Like, the Goku is able to get, like, you know, good attack numbers, good defensive numbers, but, like, it is a Goku that's on, like, a million teams, right? Whereas this Hyper Metal RILLDO is not on a million teams, and he's on, you know, 2 teams. So he's on, okay, so he's on Artificial Lifeform, Terrifying Conquerors, and GT Bosses. Artificial Lifeform and GT Bosses are not the greatest teams. Artificial Lifeform could easily, powerful 200% leader skill, could be a nasty team. But this RILLDO is a GT Bosses support unit, which is a good idea for a free-to-play character. I think if they're going to drop free-to-play characters, that's kind of the thing they should do, right? Is give them, like, strong utility, strong defense, or support, or something like that. The problem for this guy is he does need to be on a GT Bosses team, sort of. You need 4 GT Bosses units on the team for him to be at his full buffs, because he gets 20% attack and defense per GT Boss category ally in the team, up to a max of 80%. We do have 4 GT Bosses characters on the team here, so we are going to have access to that full buff. But I think his stats are just going to be a little low, which is going to be an issue, right? You know, in the post 200% red zone leader skill meta, these numbers RILLDO's putting up are not really too impressive. I mean, for sure, if they're going to drop, like, a GT Bosses Super Battle Road stage, there's not a ton of options, right? Like, if we just take a look at GT Bosses right here, it is very dead. And it's like, they really wasted LR Super 17. It was such a massive fumble. They easily could do a 17 and Hellfighter 17 that fuses into Super 17, make that a ridiculously busted character. I think Omega Shenron is a character I think is worthy of a Dokkan Fest LR. GT Boss could be an interesting team if Omega Shenron's, like, the best unit in the game, which I think is, like, plausible. It's reasonable. Personally, I think Omega Shenron does deserve that. I mean, at least when I was growing up, he was the strongest Dragon Ball villain, Omega Shenron. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta was the strongest character, Omega Shenron was the strongest villain, right? So, it would be interesting to see him get that, but right now, GT Boss is just completely dead. Several fumbles have hurt this category a lot, including Hellfighter 17 and regular 17 not counting on GT Bosses really helped kill this category. But we'll see. Let's see what RILLDO can do right here. His link set is Loyalty, Thirst for Conquest, Auto Regeneration, GT, Mechanical Menaces, Shocking Speed, and Shattering the Limit. I should highlight 2 links right here. Loyalty, this one right here, is 2 key and 5% damage reduction. I mean, we're on the Terrifying Conqueror team. RILLDO, of course, does not have a 200% right now. This is good, though. I mean, this is going to give us damage reduction. Damage reduction is definitely very helpful to get on a character like this, right? And, you know, we can get that with the Ginyu Force, which is very helpful. So we can activate Loyalty with the Ginyu Force members, and then, of course, that other link he's got right here, which is Auto Regeneration. This is 5% HP regen and 5% damage reduction. You never know. Metal Cooler, I think, could very easily be like an Artificial Lifeform 200% lead, which could vastly improve, like, this character and other characters' chances to be good. RILLDO, though, this is a GT Bosses support character, right? But one thing I think that is definitely stupid is his buff is GT Boss 2 key and 40% attack, but no defense. I don't understand why they do stuff like that. Like, just give him defense. Like, give him 3 key, 40% attack and defense. I just don't, like, free-to-play units don't have to automatically be bad. Like, I don't understand. Like, they can be good, right? Okay, so, I mean, I'll take the 4 million attack set right there, considering he's a support. His defense wasn't the craziest, though, because remember, that was a 4 million attack set with no support right there. But that goes to show what, like, the new baseline of character is, right? Like, this is a free-to-play unit, free-to-play EZA, and he does 4 million with 3 links active and no support, right? That's why, like, I just feel like I've been telling people, like, yeah, like, you gotta up your standards for damage, and I feel like a rotation like that shows it, right? Like, even free-to-play characters are able to do these, like, sort of, like, reasonable damage numbers now, but I feel like oftentimes with these support characters, Dokkan is just doing way too much balancing, right? Like, Rildo did a 4 million attack star right there. Decent for what he is as like a free-to-play EZA STR that's supporting. But like, who cares? This Rildo would be far better if you cut the 4 million attack stat to 1 million. And then you gave him way better support and then, you know, way better defense, right? Like, the GT bosses, I think, should be category allies 3 key, 40% attack and defense. I think he should also maybe have, like, a scouter or maybe, like, 30% damage reduction or something like that could be helpful. His super attack effect is good, right? Where he's getting 30% attack and defense for 1 turn, and then he lowers enemy attack, right? Attack debuffing definitely can be fairly good. But, like, I feel like maybe there they could have just given him greatly raised attack and defense, too. And I feel like it's just such a good way to go about it. Like, if they would limit the damage that some of these characters are doing, I think Trunks and Gyro is a good example of that, and then just prioritize more towards defensive ability. Running supports is really strong and is definitely something that you need to do, but I just wish that they would make the support, like, why run a support unit that will just die, right? Like, okay, we're going to make this really good character way better, but running them is going to cause us to die. So, like, why even run them, right? Supports don't need this, like, the damage, trying to get as much damage as you can. It's just, it's folly. It's just not good. Alright, so we're at 157k right here. So Rildo's getting 80% start of turn defense. He's getting 80% because we have full GT bosses for his full buff right there. He does get 80% attack and defense on super as well, right? So we are going to be getting an additional 80% right here. I mean, but that's going to be, what, like 60k defense or something like that? And then he's also getting 30% from his super attack effect. So it's like right here, we're getting support from Metal Rildo, and we're not even, like 250k defense? Like, that's not... That's like 250k defense is unrunnable, essentially. Completely a zero, I think. So that is definitely a huge bummer right there. And that's the thing, they gotta give these characters more survivability than that. It's just not good enough. We still only have those 3 links activated: Terrifying Conquerors, GT, and Shattering the Limit. Also, don't understand why the Rildos don't like link up. See, like, why? Dude, why would you ever use, like, villain characters? Like, look at this. Like, they dropped a Rildo that barely links with the only other decent Rildo. So it's like, why not just, like, if you're a free-to-play player, why would you ever summon for these types of characters? Like, just, I'm just gonna go all in on the Saiyans, because, oh, I pulled this Saiyan character. Good thing there's 80 other Saiyans that he's gonna be good with, right? Like, why would you go for anything else? Like, this is like like running these horrible GT bosses characters. I just don't. I don't know. Like, I like what they were doing by making him a support, but like these very low defensive stats and stuff, it's just not. I just don't think it's good enough. I just think that characters like this Rildo, they just have to do a little bit better when it comes to the support and the other abilities that these characters can do. Alright, so let's finish this turn up, and then let's see what we get on the next turn. The next turn will be, I think, what we'll get out of Rildo as his best turn. Because we'll have a lot of links active with the LR Int Metal Cooler Army, right? We'll have some support from the Liquid Metal Rildo as well, but just the GT bosses just doesn't really have the options. The problem is that, like, anytime they fumble a villain character ever, it's just a trickle-down effect you feel for a long time. LR Super 17 is one of the biggest fumbles in Dokkan history. What category feels it? Every single time you want to use it is GT bosses. If LR Super 17 was a really great character, you know, a unit like this could be a little bit better, but it's just very unfortunate. So, I mean, this is solid, right? We'd have some damage reduction active. I mean, we could potentially have a rotation where we'd put Gildo in here instead of the Liquid Metal Rildo, and we would have 10% damage reduction from links. Definitely could be solid, right? And I love HP regeneration links. I feel like it could have been good if maybe this Rildo got a little HP regen from his passive as well. Again, I would plead with the community to understand, just because a unit is free to play does not mean they have to suck ass, right? I mean, it's like, this Rildo, you know, I could see you getting some spot starts for him. Just, you know, because he's on such a low team, the GT Bosses team. They just definitely didn't give him enough when it comes to his defense. That's just not good enough. Again, 80% on super attack. then he's getting his 30% from his super attack effect. Maybe, again, like a GT Boss's Super Battle Road stage, but I do feel like they could have given our boy Hyper Metal Rildo a little bit more. So let me know what you guys are thinking about this EZA Hyper Metal Rildo, but it's not really too much to him. Maybe we'll end up using him to EZA another, like, better character. That's very possible. I mean, they, you know, some of the LR Prime Battle EZAs I felt like have been solid on release. You know, maybe we could see one become a little bit better. You know, we will see, right? So, there we go. There is basically Hyper Metal Rildo. Not really too much to talk about or look at with him, right? Like, you know, we got to basically run him with GT Boss's characters. Like, that's what we got to do. Alright, so this is Hyper Power of a Formidable Enemy, Hyper Metal Rildo. His leader skill is GT Bosses, category key 3 and 77% of stats, or STR type key 3 and 50% of stats. His super attack is the Hyper Metal Rildo Punch, which raises attack and defense by 30% for 1 turn, does supreme damage to the enemy, and then lowers enemy attack. The attack debuffing, of course, can be good for Super Battle Road stages. His passive skill, Metallic Fist, gives him 80% attack and defense at the start of turn. Then he gets another 20% attack and defense up to a max of 80% per GT Bosses category ally on the team. So you need 4 GT Bosses units, including himself, to be maxed out there. Then he gets an additional 80% attack and defense on super attack. And then he gets 2 key and 40% attack when facing only 1 enemy, which we saw. And then finally, he gives GT Bosses category allies 2 key, 40% attack. I don't like the fact that they did not give him a full support buff there. I feel like they easily could have given him 3 key, 40% attack and defense. I just see no reason why they couldn't have given him the full buff, right? Like, I don't... the thing about Dokkan and how it's doing content a lot of the time is, you know, they're splitting it off into certain, like, categories, right? So it's like, you know, beat the Legendary Goku event with this mission, beat the, you know, this Extreme Super Battle Road stage, which is, you know, limited to certain categories, right? I would not be surprised if, you know, if it, like, Red Zone missions could be added before they would do whatever the next wave of difficult content is, probably for the 8th anniversary, right? So with that in mind, I feel like when you have a particularly bad category like GT Bosses is, they can afford to make a character like this a little bit better. This would have been very helpful for GT Bosses if this guy was, like, one of the best free-to-play units in the game. I think taking damage away and going more defense would help a lot, right? And that he's supporting, you know, the actual hard hitters on the team, right? Could be a theoretical LR Omega Shenron, or like a new Super 17, or like a Dokkan Fest Baby, or something like that. And this guy could be supporting that character. Like, you still can do that, but this guy's defenses are very bad and very low, and he can get crushed, I think, pretty easily, unfortunately. His links are Loyalty, Thirst for Conquest, Auto Regeneration, GT, Mechanical Menaces, Shocking Speed, and Shattering the Limit. 12 kill multipliers, 135%. That is really quite low. There is, I guess, an EZA he could help out in. The AGL Goten Physical Trunks and STR Android 18 EZA. This guy, I think, would certainly help out in. And then finally, he's only on a few category teams here. He's on, of course, the Artificial Lifeform team, which is pretty small, needs a lot of help. He's also over here on the Terrifying Conquerors team, which is in a good spot, but you know, we need more villain 200%. And then finally, he's on the GT Bosses team. The way things are working right now with 200% leader skills and like the difficulty, like sort of like upgrade that the game has taken, a lot of these villain teams are in a really, really bad spot. So hopefully something can be done to make these villain teams a bit more competitive, right? Like, that free-to-play Goku could suck and it doesn't really matter, but like, it does kind of hurt that this Rildo is not better. That this guy better would be way helpful for some of these category teams. So we will see, right? Let me know what you guys think of this free-to-play EZA Hyper Metal Rildo. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.